Hello everyone, I hope that you are doing well. So without wasting any time, let's move to the newspaper. First we will identify the important news and then we'll move on to the analysis section. So this is Monday, April 25, 2022, the Hindu Delhi edition. As usual, we will be first identifying the most important news followed by a detailed discussion of the same. So let us go forward and identify the most important news. So these are two advertisement pages. So on the first page, Union Minister son accused are not important. Ola Electric recalls after vehicle fire in Pune, not that important. Macron on course to lead France again, okay. Turn up, Rahul helps Supergiant defeat Mumbai Indians. Oh, one more defeat for Mumbai Indians, okay fine. No, nothing important. Days of misery over. PM tells, okay, give it a read, but not very important. After a hiatus, household consumer spending survey to resume in July. Okay, we'll see who covers this survey, right? That's only. I think infographic will be enough. Fine. Now Pali village will run on solar power. Fine. Okay, this one we have to see. Now let's see more. There is nothing in here, and this is your advertisement. Okay, nothing in here as well. On this page, okay, we have how fintech firms are helping parents pay school fee. Turning to fintech startups for loan. Okay, this could be a case study. Okay, case study for what? This could be a case study for education based syndicates, right? This thing, that is challenges of education and all those things. Okay, so after that, let's see. There's nothing here. Okay, there is nothing here. Party stage protest against Shah. Okay, nothing here. Political leaders attend 400 Prakash Parv in Haryana. No, nothing here. Still tracing children lost to the world of learning. Education, government aided school in West Bengal are trying hard to bridge the gap. Okay, we'll see. It could also be a case study on education. And you know, education comes in at least two places in our syllabus, in paper GS1 and in GS2, and in GS3 anywhere in infrastructural part you can always have that thing, right? And GS4 as well. So everywhere education is one of the most important topic. Okay, there is nothing else here. Debt crisis. I must promise to help support Sri Lanka, as we were in 1990 when Sri Lanka is facing the same burn now, right? So we understand its challenges. Okay, and let's see if anything else. A drop, the pin event in Chinese politics. CPC prepares for 20th Congress in annual autumn and tracks the China dream. Look, again this person, Xi Jinping, will come into power because he is the most powerful person in China right now. Okay. Sidestepping irritants, India and UK. Choose to keep big picture in mind and work on long-term goals. Fair enough. Settling India's COVID-19 mortality data. Yes, we'll read it because for some time it has been in news, so we have to understand what is the challenge. Addressing discontent. The projects for J&K will benefit the UT but are not given enough to deserve discontent. Okay, not important. Sidestepping irritants. Okay, we'll just give it a read. I know there won't be any much things there, right? And what are the problems with China? Path to review a buffeted economy. Not important. We don't have to deal with China, we have to deal with India. Demolishing the rule of law. The bulldozer itself has now become a symbol of brute state power and revolving mascot to intimidate minority groups in the country. Again, the same thing, bulldozer thing. Okay, you just do one thing. You see this rule of law thing. Article 13 is law. Article 14, you have to do this. Just have a look on those two things, right? Floundering polio eradication. We'll see this. It is related to health and what is the challenges of this polio thing, right? Not music to ears. Ilayaraja and A.R. Rahman were panned by rival ecosystem for expressing political views. Not important. Text and context. Understanding the Olga Tellis judgment. What is this? We will read it. At least the gist will definitely read, because it has a judgment of India, Olga Tellis versus Bombay Municipal Corporation, right? 85. Okay, let's move towards the resolution of Arunachal Assam border. We'll just give the reading to the gist. Okay, let's move forward. Fancy Bears hack team tackling strontium, a cyber espionage group. Okay, we'll read the gist first, because I understand we are understanding that it is related to tackling a organized crime, right? So it is related to paper 3 and especially cyber organized crime. So it is a topic of cyber organized crime. Okay, so we have to read it, but the thing is how, in what capacity, we'll see after reading the gist. If it has something, then we'll go in the main picture, right? 2 held in not important, Union Minister son back in jail, not important. And who is this Ashish Mishra? Okay. Unity in diversity is civilizational heritage, Khan. Pew first century is a distortion. Okay. CGI Ramana compares a year at top level. Okay, fair enough. Structural biologists, oh, not important. Argentina acknowledges India's support to Falkland Row. Yesterday we have dealt with that. Okay, PM receives Lata Mangeshkar award. Why? He is a singer or what? For what it is given? Cultural ambassador. Okay. Caste pressure behind death of SI, not important. Kapoor allegation or political vendetta, not important. Anti-Defection Law needs to be reformed. Okay, we'll see what Venkaiah Naidu has to say about it, because Anti-Defection Law is covered in Schedule 10 of Constitution. Okay, so it is important for paper 2. Judiciary custody, not important. BJP ally sweeps, not important. Hope India reconsiders position, take a more critical stance on Russia. And who is this person? Polish foreign minister. Okay. Go for a cardless day out to boost digital economy, says PM. Cashless day out. Okay. This could be cashless day out. Okay. This could be a way forward for economy questions. Okay. Look, this way you have to collect your, in entire year you will be collecting these small things, and you will have an excellent answer to write in the examination, right? So you have to collect them, you have to write it in a diary or in your notebook. Okay, fair enough. Picking the right motor cover, not important. Passionate about, passion, not important. Macron projected to win second term. Zelensky presses for more arms ahead of Blinken meet. Okay, yeah, there is a fact that Ukraine is the biggest arms market, the illegal arms market in Europe, right? Shanghai on edge of COVID-19, that all. Okay. As usual, I don't think there would be anything. Okay, so what is the table doing right now? Where is the table? Oh, they have not printed it, na? Oh, fair enough, not of. So we have come to the last, and with this the identification section is over. Now we move on to the analysis of the most important news, followed by analysis of the editorial and explain page, right? Okay, so this is our first news. After a hiatus, household customer spending survey to resume in July. Okay, so let's see who does it. Let's see the infographic. The All India Household Customers Expenditure Survey will be conducted between July to June 2023. What it is, usually carried out every 5 years. The survey helps to access poverty levels and consumption pattern across the country and rebase GDP calculation. So why it is important for rebasing of GDP calculation for poverty levels and consumption pattern calculations, right? What is the big deal? The last survey was made public in 11-12, so it has been now 10 years, right? And it has not been done. Actually, till now 2 such reports should have been there, but we are lagging by 2 reports, right? Why this long pause? The survey was conducted in 2017-82, but its results were not released owing to the quality concern. It reportedly reflected the first drop in monthly per capita household spending since 72-73, with a rise in poverty incidence. Okay, and no government will want these 2 things for them. This is the worst thing that a government can show to the public, that their monthly per capita household spending has declined, as well as there is rise in poverty incidence. So government, rather than carrying it out, rather than presenting it before public, what it does, it did that, it stopped it, right? And it will be now conducting a fresh one, and let's see what the result comes. Yes, okay, estimates of poverty level, GDP rebasing, and one more thing, consumption pattern. 3 things are there, so you make a note of it. Why? Because it may come in prelims. Usually, okay, conducted by NSO every 5 years. It is said to resume this year. India has not any official estimates on per capita household spending used to arrive at the estimates of poverty level in different part of the country and to review economic indications such as the GDP since 11-12. The government has junked the finding of last survey conducted, citing data quality issue. Fine. So I don't think there will be anything more than this. Okay, now estimates of household monthly per capita consumer expenditure MPC, monthly per capita consumer expenditure, and distribution of household and person over different MPCE classes based on survey may not only become available about a year after field work is completed. The result will include separate data sets for rural and urban parts, and also special spending pattern for each state and UT, as well as different socio-economic groups. So this survey will be very vast in nature, right? It will not only be available for rural, urban, but also for different socio-economic group, different monthly per capita expenditure group, and so on and so forth, right? Published by, so facts to remember, published by NSO in general, right? Second thing is poverty plus consumer pattern plus GDP rebasing. Okay, usually 5-year gap, usually 5 years. Okay, publishing time, and last thing is 2017-18 report curbed due to data quality. Okay, right? So remember this, and there won't be anything much in this. Palli village will run on solar power. So will run on solar power. It is not running right now. Palli village in Jammu's Samba district has become country's first panchayat to become carbon neutral, fully powered by solar energy. No, it has already become. Take care. Inaugurating 500 kilowatt solar plant at the village, Prime Minister referred to 2021 Glasgow Climate Summit conference and pointed out that Palli was a major step towards Glasgow goal of making India carbon neutral. Yes, it is. It is an example of becoming carbon neutral. Write it down in your environment section. Okay. As I said, these small things will only make your answer beautiful and up to the mark. Okay. You are giving such examples, then only you will get marks, or else nobody is going to give you even a single mark. Now let's see this case study, how fintech firms are helping parents to pay school fees. Okay, with the school demanding several month fees in advance, parents are turning to fintech startups for loan. Okay, fintech startups will give them loan so that they can meet the child's education requirement. Means education, which is a social good, which should be given free to everyone, requires so much thing. And why people have to bear this burden? Because they want their children to study in private school. And why they want their children to study in private school? Because public education infrastructure somewhere has a trust deficit, and that is simply because they have the quality deficit, right? So what is the requirement? The requirement is creation of proper quality in quality education in public school. Okay, given school institution on collecting 6 month or even a year fees in advance. Can you imagine? Say if you have fees of a simple, what we say, a private school is about 3,000 rupees, okay, per month in small cities. Fine, and you multiply it by 12, it becomes 36,000, right? Plus building charge, maintenance charge, books, dress, right? And all these will make it about 50,000 rupees. And it is very difficult for a middle class parent to get 50,000 rupees at an instant. Yes, they can give it in installment, but giving it at an instant is very difficult. And it is for what? It is for smaller schools, for a general public school, right? Private school, right? For a larger one of the caliber of some international school, it would be somewhere around 6,000 to 7,000 per month, and other activities will take it to about 9,000 to 10,000 per month, right? Which is a very huge amount. They have to pay more than 1 lakh at a time. That is a very huge amount for a middle class family to pay, right? So the dream of quality education for many gets shattered. Because why this is happening? Because private schools are actually providing quality education. So what is the need? The need is public school should provide quality education. School asks him to pay 60% of my children yearly fees, which comes to be around 1.2 lakh. What I said, for average school it is about 50,000, and for bigger schools it is 1.2 lakh. I was talking about small cities, right? This would be in capital, Bengaluru, and all those things. I did not have that kind of surplus cash. Okay, he couldn't get this amount as interest-free loan from banks or friends either. That's when the course exploring his option, he came across a fintech firm which provided him with the option of paying his children fee through no-cost monthly EMI flexible payment system which allow me to decide the date on which I can pay the installment, as well as the option to pay the loan back through no cost EMI came as a godsend for me. Okay, so how do they earn? Mr. Narayan is one of the many parents. Okay, Gurgaon resident Agarwal faced a similar situation. 22,000 rupees are advance for my son's school fee. Look, 22,000. Okay, now no cost EMI option provided by a fintech allows me to pay back this amount as per my convenience. Okay, for him, as many as other salaried employees who spend around 10% of their income on their child's education, it makes a lot of sense to break this expenses into smaller chunk, especially at time when the cost of living is growing sharply. Making tech work, explaining why fintech firms working in education sector have seen a spurt in growth. One of the the founder of Jodo, said schools with a small admin and financial team finds it difficult to handle numerous transactions. He gave the analogy of school with 2,000 students collecting monthly fees. Per year, there could be over 20,000 transactions. The school will have to communicate about this transaction to parents, collect the fees, send reminders for payments, and painstakingly follow up for each delayed payment. This was the reason why school have begun to ask for fees in larger advance installments, he said. Several other firms have become popular in this segment within a short span of time. Rohit, who is the CEO of Finance Peer, claims that his company has provided financing solutions closely to 35 lakh students and parents since it was founded in 2017. Can you imagine 35 lakh students and parents? Let's see it. 2 parents plus 1 child. 3. So 35 lakhs by 3. You have almost how much? About a little less than 12 lakh people. They have actually 12 lakh household they have actually served. Okay, but I don't understand one thing. How do these fintech earn from providing interest free loans, and that can be paid in installments? Okay, and no cost through back through no cost EMIs. We have to see. Okay, I'll get to it. I'll find some answers to that question as well. Now see that case study. This is a case study for what? Challenges of education and monopolizing practices of private schools. Okay, so the public good has become luxury good. What does it do? It makes education transformed from public good to luxury good. Okay, which is very bad in an economy such as India, where the dan of shiksha dan, is considered as one of the most important and most chastable thing to donate, and here it has become a luxury good. This is very shameful for Indian culture and India as whole. Right, now let's move further. Still tracing children lost in world of learning. Let's see what this case study has to offer to us. Education in government aided school in West Bengal are trying. Educators in government aided school in West Bengal are trying hard to bridge the gap. Fair enough. When a school in West Bengal reopened for offline classes around mid-February, okay, the educator found that several of the students hadn't joined back. Fine. Even one child lost and left untouched is a guilt upon us. Yes, true. If even one child is lost or is left behind due to any of the factors in the education sector, then it is a guilt upon entire Indian civilization. The thought of what might have happened to them, their safety and security worries us. Yes, it should. This shows the compassion in the headmistress of Kolkata, Lee Memorial Guard. Okay, compassion for the children and how she is very compassionate towards her work. Right. These children came from least privileged background, background of society, and then dropping out points to our responsibility towards the society as educators. Okay, while for the students of private school, the mode of education merely shifted from offline to online mode when the lockdown was enforced. The students of government-run school with hardly any access to smartphones or networks had no such luxury. For them, prolonged closure meant a prolonged break from learning, leading to many dropping out. Okay, so what is this? This is a case study, a very important case study regarding what? Case study for private versus public differentials with respect to what? With respect to education, right? Due to confinement at home, these children lost over 20 months of school days and learning atmosphere. Since they come mainly from not so financially sound background, online learning was not very easy for them. They lost track of studies, and some of them were completely lost from our reach and still are. The parents has lost their livelihood and were financially distressed. Education for them turned into a luxury. As I said in earlier also, education has become a luxury nowadays, right? And let's see after that. In some cases, their parents separated, refusing to take responsibility of the child. We heard about few being left at care of grandparents and some relative. A few of them became child labor. 2 of them were married off, right? So what are the challenges? Child labor. Let me change the pen color. Child labor is one of the challenge. Marriage is a challenge. Child marriage, of course. And the third challenge is distressed family conditions, right? So these 3 challenges are leading to what? Drop out of the people, of the student. In fact, once offline classes resumed, very few children were back. It required a lot of phone calls to parents convincing them that their children would be safe in the school. The children too, it was observed, has become very reluctant to come back to school. They have lost their attention span. Concentration was very low. Obviously, they have lost about 18-20 months of education. Their concentration will be low. Okay. Many children have migrated back to villages. Transfer certificates were not collected. Today, the teachers are working hard to keep children engaged. Some appear withdrawn. Learning gap has widened, obviously. However, the most difficult task is to trace the lost children back and bring them to the world of education and learning. Yes, this is the most important but most difficult task to be done. And this is the actual situation of education in India. These 2 articles these 2 case studies shows that how education has become luxury in India, and this is very pathetic state of things, right? And we have to work on it, because education cannot be a luxury in a country that has educated the world for so long. We cannot have this thing in India, right? We have to do something about it. Okay, let's move forward to see if anything else is left. And of course, we are here at the editorial, which as usual we'll be doing at last, okay, after analysis of the news. So let's see the next thing. Editorials, text and context. Okay, let's see here on this page if we have anything. Obviously not, we don't have anything here. Anti-defection law needs to be reformed. Let's see what Venkaiah Naidu has to say about it, our vice president. It allows wholesale defection but not retail. Yes, it is correct. Okay, wholesale defection is allowed. There are conditions where 33% of defection occurs, and all those 3-4 conditions are there. Then it is not considered defection. But not retail means one person cannot, 1, 2, 3%, means small amount of person are not allowed to defect. But person in a group that consists of 33% of the original of the people of the original party is allowed, right? Venkaiah Naidu on Sunday said there was a need to amend the anti-defection legislation in country to plug existing loopholes. There are certain loopholes in anti-defection law. It allows wholesale defection, but retail defection is not allowed. Amendments are required to plug in the loopholes. Okay, this is a good line actually to use in these questions related to anti-defection, right? So just remember this. It is a very good comparison. Time frame for action, starting that there was no clarity on the law about the time frame for action of the house of the chairperson, house chairperson or speaker in anti-defection cases. Some cases are taking 6 months and some are even taking 3 years. There are cases that disposed of after the term is over. I personally believe that these anti-defection cases can be disposed of in 3 months. Okay, so he wants that there should be a time frame, and yes, this is correct. Time frame is always good thing, because this helps not only to reduce the piling number of cases anywhere in any office, but also increases the trust in the of public in the office, right? And this is the most important thing, because it will do what? It will enhance the social contract. It is also the dharma of politicians and requirement as per the constitution to leave the post that they are holding when they are changing party. Referring to the proceedings of Rajya Sabha, he said, I also get disgusted with the proceedings of Rajya Sabha sometimes. Wonderful debates do take place. Unfortunately, when things change, good speeches that have contributed to legislative making do not happen. He also lamented the political parties starting media outlets were weakening the democracy. Social media rule, Mr. Naidu said he has sought some kind of regulation on social media. If it is not censorship, but at a time of hatred and religious tension, Parliament has to seriously view the issue and come out with certain regulation. I have spoken about the need for regulation in the Parliament too. He said political parties should lay down certain code of conduct to be followed and members should follow them. Okay, so he's talking about code of conduct for the members of a particular or in general political parties. The vice president also pointed out the charter, capacity, caliber and conduct, that is the hallmarks of politics, has replaced with caste, community, cash and communalism. Oh wow, you should write this. This is a good thing. Write it in your notes. You can, if you write it in the answer, you will get additional at least half marks. Referring to Panchayati Raj Day observed on Sunday, Mr. Naidu appealed to the state government to strengthen the local body that will enable strengthening democracy in the country. Okay, so it's a good speech, very good. Okay, and things that he talk are actually logical, and therefore he is the vice president of India. He has a thing called logic with him, right? Let's see. Okay, there is nothing out here, nothing out here. Okay, so we have come to end of the news analysis now, and let us move directly to the editorial and text and context based analysis, right? Okay, so this is our first editorial, sidestepping irritants. India and UK chose to keep the big picture in mind and work on long term goals. Okay, big picture in mind and work on long term goals. Look, what are the short term irritants? India's position on Russia-Ukraine crisis, the long and bloodshed history of India and Britain, and all those things. So we have decided to keep it side, and we should work on the long term goals with present or contemporary situation in mind, right? We should forget the past. After two last minute cancellations due to waves of COVID-19, British PM Boris Johnson was in Delhi last week, committing to more cooperation with India on trade, defence, combating climate change, cyber security. But it was a visit surprisingly short on actual agreements. While an early harvest agreement on trade has to be shelved, the plan was to announce it by Easter, April this year. Mr. Johnson and Prime Minister Modi said they have pushed the deadline to complete the full FTA by October end. So we do not have a FTA with Britain, right? Full FTA will come up by October end or Deepavali, with a view to doubling bilateral trade by 2030. It is not clear whether respective trade delegations are on track for final agreement, but Mr. Johnson sounded optimistic with India's fast-tracking FTA with the UAE and Australia, of course. So we have FTAs with now UAE and Australia. UAE was in February, right? In this year February we have this FTA. Of concern to UK is lifting of India's tariff on Scotch whisky, which might make some headway as India has accepted lower tariff on Australian wine, and UK seems more flexible in increasing visas to India's professional. Both Prime Minister discussed strengthening defence ties and cooperating strategically in Indo-Pacific. The leaders also discussed green technology transfer and international climate finance, although India has yet to commit in writing to the NDCs that Mr. Modi has described as COP26 in Glasgow. Okay. Mr. Johnson did tread lightly on issues that that Modi government is sensitive about, such as Ukraine and human rights violation. He refers India's long-standing relationship with Russia, expressing understanding of India's position in stark contrast to the visit of his foreign minister 2 weeks ago. He brushed aside the questions on human rights concerned in India, despite facing criticism over posing with bulldozer while inaugurating a factory on the same day. Supreme Court of India was deliberating over the government's controversial new policy of using bulldozer to demolish shops and homes. The subgroup is said to set up study extremism in India and UK, while Mr. Johnson suggested would be used to monitor Khalistani groups as New Delhi desired, but has a broader mandate to counter all groups and individuals seeking to incite violent extremism and terrorism. Right. So when Supreme Court was giving the bulldozer judgment, right, he was posing on a bulldozer. It seems that bulldozer is now also the rule of law will become the rule of law in England as well, or what? Look, it is not good to have bulldozer here and there on the ground. It just creates social disharmony. Okay. In return, New Delhi chose not to press the point too hard on why economic fugitives have still not been extradited. However, while sidestepping irritants in relationship can increase the prospects of agreements, it cannot replace the actual work and elbow grease needed to give ties some momentum after years of status. Both New Delhi and London must ensure more concerted efforts to bring those agreements to final in near future and to reach their ambitious goal under Roadmap 2030 agreed to last summit in 2021. Look, why this Britain is all of a sudden coming to India? It's just the interest, right? I have always said, look here, there is an international relation building, IR building, and this IR is always based on what? Care / interest, which turns into affair / proximity, cut, action, which turns into marriage, right? Or deep relations, like India Bhutan. Fine. Care or interest. Now what happens is Britain or / UK needs India. Why it needs India? It needs our market and our products both, especially after Brexit. Fine. So Britain has a need, so do India has. India needs UK's security, means weapons, market, visa, etc. Right? So they two have mutual utility of one another. There is an interest, and hence an IR is budding between them. Right? So this is the main point here. Settling India's COVID-19 mortality data. WHO coronavirus mortality count is more than subject of disagreement. It poses a question to the establishment. Okay, who is this Chapal Mehra? Let us see what he does. Public health specialist, activist, and writer of New Delhi. Okay, let's see what he has to say. Over the year, WHO has been busy in an unprecedented effort to calculate the global toll of COVID-19. This effort, however, has India's health establishment up in arms. Globally, from an estimated 6 million reports deaths, WHO now estimates these deaths to be closer to almost triple the number, means almost 18 million. India deeply affected by successive COVID-19 waves. It is not delighted with this revision. There are gaps. Some news reports have pointed out significant gap in India COVID-19 story. Significantly underreported mortality figure. The release of WHO estimates have been prepared by leading global experts but have left India's health establishment perturbated with its strong objection to the estimates. These estimates. Why? Because as in their figures, India would have close to 4 times the COVID-19 death reported, a figure that varies highly from India's previously self-reported figure. This would make India's tally of COVID-19 deaths among the highest globally. Not surprisingly, India is in serious disagreement with WHO prepared COVID-19 mortality estimates. In fact, its continued objections have been holding back the global WHO report. Okay. The argument being made by India's health establishment through a public clarification is that there is an overestimation and methodology employed is incorrect. Okay. The new estimates also take in the account formally uncounted death, but also deaths resulting from impact of COVID-19. For example, millions who could not access care, diagnose or treatment due to COVID-19 restrictions, or from COVID-19 cases overwhelming health services. The methodology for this estimation led by global experts is unlikely to be faulty. India's disagreement with this methodology can easily assess through the consultation. Also, the need to pump up India's COVID-19 death unnecessarily would serve little or no purpose. Why then this objection? A quick study of India COVID-19 response is insightful. India's COVID-19 response has been replete within delays and denial. For instance, for longest time in the India's COVID-19 number rose, and the health establishment continued to insist that community transmission was not underway. It took months and several lakh cases before they agreed that COVID-19 was finally in community transmission. Okay. The second wave devastation. End of first wave saw a slew of congratulatory and adulatory messages by the political leaders applauding India's leadership for ending COVID-19 in the country. India's people were told that the war against COVID-19 had been won and over, until the deadly second wave arrived and kept up on the country, which has turned complacent. Okay, so what happened? That after the passing of first wave, everyone started congratulating each other. It created complacency, and complacency, when the second wave came, it became more devastating. The devastation of second wave showed us how unprepared we were to combat deadly Delta variant. People began defying from lack of access of basic health facilities and infrastructure such as oxygen beds, ventilator, and therapeutics. The wave devastated Indian citizens in unmeasurable unimaginable way, right? Crematoriums ran out of wood. People were forced to bury their family members on the bank of river. By the time they were subsided, India's population was devastated and helpless, seemingly seeing dignity neither in disease nor in death. Okay. Potential fallout. The need to deny these new mortality figure is much like case of emperor's new cloth. The establishment shudders to think what these figures reveal to the public, not just about lack of preparedness, but also human cost to the country, okay, and to the community. So two things it says: lack of preparedness and human cost to the country. Also, at the time, there is rising unemployment, rising fuel prices, and inflation in India. The figures then also have enormous political relevance. They are the much needed ammunition that bigoted and often out of sync and clueless opposition needs to counter government's victory drumbeats against COVID-19. Okay, so this report will be needed by whom? The opposition, so that it could counter the government's victory drum. And yes, it is correct. Even a one death, even single death is a toll on government's image, right? And there are deaths that are shown to be say 20. Now the WHO says that it is about 4 times, that is it is about 80. So the opposition if it has this report, then it can ask about it to the government, it can censure the government, right? Okay, now give it a read. From here it would be easy, right? I don't think from here anything else will be there. Okay, so let's move on to this rule of law. I've already said. Read those two articles, your work will be done. Floundering polio eradication. India to face enormous impact in case of CVDPV3 outbreak. Okay, in case these outbreaks happen, then India will have to face the enormous impact. So fine. The recent news of wild polio type 1 in Malawi imported from Pakistan and polio outbreak in Israel caused by circulating vaccine derived polio virus 3 are visible signs of floundering polio eradication. When the virus is in oral polio vaccine, de-attenuates by mutation, acquiring transmission efficiency and neurovirulence, it is called CVDP. Okay. Eradication target when launched in 1988 was 2000 as a gift of 20th century to 21st. The World Health Organization assumed the task assigned by unanimous resolution in World Health Assembly, the forum of ministers of health of all nations, right? It is for polio. Okay, the resolution was perfectly timed. Rotary International launched its Polio Plus project to provide polio vaccines to under 5 children in all developing countries before 2005. Of 6 WHO regions, 3, that is America, Europe and Western Pacific, has already independently resolved to eradicate polio in their territories by or before 2000. Incidentally, they achieved goal more or less on time. WHO task was essentially confined to southern arc of remaining regions, Africa, Eastern Mediterranean and Southeast Asia. Having failed the target in 2000, WHO revives its endeavor every 4 to 5 years, and now it's 2026. What is this? Why they are? Okay, India to face enormous impact in case of CVDP V3 outbreak. Okay, let's read further. Budget estimates. Original budget estimate was about 5 million, but since 2000 it has annual spending of 1 billion raised through Rotary Gates Foundation and rich governments. Okay. One annual national 2000 plan with bivalent OPV for all children below 5 years. Okay, total 10 to 15 doses per child in different state. Pandemic pediatric textbook warns that rare occasion OPV itself may cause vaccine associated polio VAPP in vaccinated children and unvaccinated child contacts. Okay, the commonest cause of vaccinated VAPP is types 3 vaccine virus for contact. Okay, type 3 is wild polio, right? So these safety problems were known since 64. Should economies or ethics guide our choice between IPV and OPV? The low cost OPV could be fallacious. Will overall program cost be less for 10 to 15 doses of OPV including campaigns than IPV given through universal immunization program? You know of no such analysis. Okay, fine. I don't think anything here we have. VDP, right? What is this VDP? Let me just see if anywhere it is written or not. VAPP it is written. Now let's see VPP. Okay. Just give it a read. I don't think there is anything much in it, right? It is saying if this happens, if this outbreak happens, then India will be severely impacted, right? Because India has a very huge population of child, and that too, if there is a wild polio outbreak in India, then it could be disastrous for India. Yes, it will be, obviously, because due to such high child population, it is possible, right? Let's see the next page. Look, some article feels that they are good, but ultimately they are not very relevant for our examination. Okay. Let's see the gist for this. Understanding Olga Telly's judgment. What is the gist? How this judgment is relevant to the anti-encroachment drive in Jahangirpuri. The Olga Tellis versus Bombay Municipal Corporation judgment ruled that eviction of pavement dwellers using unreasonable force without giving them chance to explain is unconstitutional. It is a violation of their right to livelihood. Okay. So Article 19 gets involved. Livelihood. Yes, Article 19 Part 1 Part G gets involved. Right to evocation. Right. The case started in 81 when State of Maharashtra and Bombay Municipal Corporation decided that pavement and slum dwellers in Bombay city should be evicted and deported to their respective places of origin or places outside the city of Bombay. The court has emphatically objected to the authority treating pavement dwellers as mere trespassers. They managed to find a habitat in place which are mostly filthy or marshy out of sheer helplessness. It is not if they have free choice to exercise as to whatever to commit or encroachment, and if so, where. So the court has said that don't use brute force, instead give them chance to explain themselves, and if they are able to explain themselves, then it's okay, and if not, then you go on to evict those people. But look, here the question is how judgment is relevant to anti-encroachment drive in Jahangirpuri or any place where there is use of bulldozer. It is not that using bulldozer per se is no. It is the fact that using such a state power which shows the brute nature of state, that is wrong, right? So this Olga Tellis judgment can be used in one of the answers if it comes directly with respect to livelihood. Okay, right to livelihood. But the probability of coming of such judgment is such question is very bleak, right? Now this understand towards the resolution of Arunachal Assam border dispute, the Arunachal Pradesh Chief Minister and his Assam counterpart have decided to form district level committees for settling the dispute. The issue started with 1951 report and all those things, right? The two states have decided to form 12 committee. Okay, fine, nothing here much. Let's see about this fancy beer. Clean sports. Okay, fine. Now let's see. Strontium, also called as fancy beer, is a highly active cyber espionage group. The group is said to be connected to GRU, the Russian Armed Force, main military intelligence wing. Okay, the group deployed diverse malware and malicious tools to breach the network. These tools can be used to hook into the system drivers and access local password, and can track keystone, mouse movement, and control webcam and other USB devices. They can also search and replace local files and stay connected to the network. Okay, fine. The Democratic National Committee hacked during 2016 US presidential election the global television network. Cyber attack, World Anti-Doping Agency, email leak, and several other high-profile breaches are said to be work of fancy beer. Okay, so this fancy beer, strontium, or called strontium, right? So so this is one of the most important. What I say, it is a it is not crime. It is cyber organization. Okay, and is used by Russia. Okay, so with this we end this today's newspaper. Your homework is again the same as in previous videos to let me know which article you will use as case studies, right? Write it in the comment box. Okay, fine. So friends, I really hope that you like this video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe our channel and share this video with your friend. Follow us on Telegram as well. Also, keep studying hard, keep following your dreams, and keep tuned to our channel. Comment below for any suggestion. Till then, goodbye, good luck, keep studying hard.